Hi, Chris. I wanted to go ahead and leave you some comments on your discussion post for this week. And just looking at the post. I mean, it's a good thing you brought your text into the picture here because, like I've said to other people, the text is going to be really, really important in this course. So, as we go through the next couple of weeks, be sure that you're always skimming through your text and trying to get the definitions of things down. So you did a really good job in this post of talking about wooded areas. And wilderness areas can be thought of. There's lots of different ways that we might define wilderness areas, and some wilderness areas are even protected. But we do have, wilderness areas that are forests. So when looking at the values for forests, you're talking immediately about the direct values, which is very easy to quantify. Of course, we have the lumber and timber, and we take that and we sell it to make houses and to make bonfires and whatever else. So the wood from a forest definitely has a value. But if we're thinking about the value of a wilderness area, we're not really thinking in terms of how much the wood is worth, because the idea behind wilderness is that it should be untouched and unspoiled. So some of the other values that we might associate with a wooded wilderness area would be the ecosystem services, just like you're talking about. As long as we leave it be, it's going to provide us with carbon sequestration and filtering through the forest floor of water, flood prevention, and the creation of oxygen. And like your text says, it's kind of weird. In this chart, they put it under direct values, but then the text kind of contradicts itself and says that ecosystem services are actually indirect. So we should probably put these, they are utilitarian. There's a use for them, like we just described. So, but these ecosystem services are indirect. And your text says that it's hard to quantify and put a price on ecosystem services, but there's actually ways to do that through economics. Like we can find out how much an acre of trees is going to sequester as far as carbon, and then if there's carbon exchanges, then we can price it, and we can actually figure out like how much or what the value is of these ecosystem services that a piece of wilderness is providing. So moving on, you talk a little bit about the EPA. And the EPA does function a lot of different ways. To protect wilderness, though, the EPA might be taking a backseat to the land management agencies like the National Park Service or the Bureau of Land Management, or the National Forest Service. The EPA is mainly concerned with the Clean Water Act, the Clean Air Act, endangered species protection and things like that. So if we're thinking about wilderness areas, like I think of here in California, the big chunks of wilderness out in the desert that are managed by the BLM. And obviously, what's a policy tension there? Well, right now there's a big push for renewable energy. And a lot of these wilderness areas on BLM land are being handed over to energy companies to build giant windmills for wind energy. And so we have this energy policy of renewable energy to try to combat climate change versus the idea of keeping the wilderness pristine for its aesthetic value. So that's one way to look at a policy tension there. Which one do we choose? Gosh, they both sound good. Biodiversity and wilderness protection or renewable energy. That's the sort of thing that people have to fight out in the policy arena. Okay, so that's about it. Your last comment, wasting our resources is never right. We all need to work on that. I'm going to agree with that 100%. So anyway, good job. If you have any questions, let me know.